I am ranked number one. One! That means I'm the best.
So Nick Blackwell actually needed surgery to reduce swelling on his brain following this ill-advised sparring session he had recently. 26 years of age. You know about the Eubank defeat for the British title. Blackwell doesn't currently have a license to box because of the injury. Now, if he's that determined to box and he goes to another jurisdiction somewhere around the world, he won't get licensed in the United Kingdom by the British board. That's up to him, but, you know, it's crazy. Gary Lockett, his ex-trainer, former fighter himself who beat the likes of Ryan Rhodes and lost to Kelly Pavlik, he said he couldn't believe Nick would be so stupid as to put his health at risk. He says he can't understand the boxer he sparred with, the coaches or coach who was involved to allow Nick to spar when he's had this brain injury. He's hoping they get dealt with by the British Boxing Board of Control in the correct manner. When Gary Lockett got a phone call from Dan Blackwell, Nick's brother, who Nick is currently training, he said, "I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. At this time, all our thoughts are with Nick and his family." It was Gary Lockett who encouraged Blackwell to get his trainer's license. And he was due to be in Liam Williams' corner for his fight until he was taken ill after the sparring session on Tuesday the 22nd. Liam Williams fought yesterday on a Box Nation card, I believe in Motor Point, Cardiff it was. Everybody knew that Nick missed boxing, said Gary Lockett, but we didn't obviously know to which extent he missed it. He said, "I'm deeply saddened by what has happened. Nick is not just an ex-boxer, but also someone I consider to be a friend." The British Boxing Board of Control Secretary Robert Smith says an investigation will begin on Monday. He said he's sickened by these events. It's a tough sport, very tough sport, and the doctors here did a wonderful job to save his life. Chris Eubank Jr. said Nick Blackwell is back in hospital after he tried to start sparring again. He's a tough kid. I know he'll get himself through it again. I honestly hope everything is okay and the procedure he's had is not a serious one. There's some people on Twitter saying after what happened to Nick Blackwell, he respects Nicholas Walters for quitting in his corner yesterday against Lomachenko. Giselle X, who occasionally comments on my vids, she said maybe Nick Blackwell needs psychic evaluation. And she has a good point. She has a really good point, you know. Anybody who's followed me knows that I don't advocate on telling boxers when they should retire for whatever reasons. I will draw the line if there's a clinical medical evaluation made on the individual boxer. If somebody reputable from the medical profession has told you to stop boxing, then that's it. That's it, basically. I'm not going to try and exercise your free will to that extent. No. There has to be a cut-off point. And that's it. If you can pass the medicals, then no, I don't agree with this. You should quit. You should do this. No. I might feel you should, but I'm not going to come out and say you should. I believe, without sounding too cliched or trying to sound too profound, Nick Blackwell's biggest battles are not in the ring anymore. There will definitely be some psychological fallout of him doing this. Him putting himself, or should I say him being put through what he was put through in the Eubank fight, nearly dying. He must have saw the anguish on his parents and his siblings and his friends' faces when he was recovering, seeing the horror in their eyes that they nearly lost him. And then he went and done that. Yes, there's something not all right there. Of course, you still want to box. But like I said, when there's clinical, medical evaluation there's no more argument. There's nothing to talk about now. Yeah? There's lots of things I would have liked to have did. Some which I'm too old to do now. That's just life. You got to move on. So his stubbornness tells me there's something not quite right. And some therapy is needed for him to come to terms with his situation. He needs to come to terms with his situation. Can't box legally in the United Kingdom no more. That's not going to happen. Yeah?
Now there are a few boxers who couldn't pass the British Boxing Board's medical examination. They can't pass that. They're not fit to box here. And they've got licenses with other commissions around Europe. There was one guy from Birmingham, I did a video on him, I can't remember his name. And I think he had some shadows on his brain, or some bleeds or something. And he got passed by another commission somewhere else, or board. Does he really want to go down that route? Well, if that's what he wants to do, that's what he's got to do. But was this the first sparring session that he's had that no one's knew about? Or was it just this one here that's produced this swelling on his brain following the sparring session? I tell you what though, say what you like, that's one determined dude. It might not even be all this mental evaluation that I'm talking that's neat. He's just very determined to fight. That's what he wants to do. I think all fighters have a little, not all, but a big percentage of fighters have a little bit of Nick Blackwell in them. Only most are sensible enough when there's a clinical medical evaluation right in front of them telling them that no, we don't allow this. They stop. Nick just can't come to terms with this. And there was one boxer just the other day in the United Kingdom, an unlicensed boxer, what they call it, blue or white collar boxing, or unlicensed. He died in the ring. He died. One punch put him in a coma and he was dead next. Then we had the Scottish guy who died the other week. I don't know where this story is gonna end up, but we haven't heard the last of it. This isn't the last we've heard of this. I don't know where the next twist in this story is going to go. But I'll be following it, just like you.